During the night from December 4 to 5, 2025, more precisely on December 4 at 23:13 Greenwich Mean Time, there is a full moon in the sign of Gemini, in the 13th degree of this sign. It is called the cold supermoon, and we really do need to meet this full moon with a cold, clear mind. This full moon carries signs and omens that will reveal themselves in the period from December 1 to 5 inclusive. The energy of this full moon is punitive, yet at the same time it gives a chance, it offers a choice. This full moon occurs immediately after the sun touches the star Antares, which is one of the 4 royal stars. The star Antares is the guardian of the West, the keeper of the past. It is one of 4 points that form a cross on the zodiacal circle, the cross of power and catastrophes. Let us talk about the symbolism of this full moon and also about its practical influence on the events in the lives of each zodiac sign. On the eve of the full moon, specifically during the period from December 1 to 4, the sun meets the star Antares, whose diameter is 400 times larger than the diameter of the sun itself. The star Antares is the keeper of the past, the guardian of the West, the keeper of the gates of darkness, which the sun enters every year between December 1 and 4. The sun enters these gates and gradually dissolves into absolute darkness so that it may be reborn on the birthday of the new sun, which occurs on December 21, the day of the winter solstice. During these days of the exact conjunction of the sun with Antares, from December 1 to 4, we receive certain signs, omens, and harbingers, both on the external plane and in our personal affairs. These signs and omens do not need to be waited for deliberately or looked for with special attentiveness. The signs come in such a way that it is difficult not to notice them. They catch the eye. The full moon during the night from December 4 to 5 takes place in the sign of Gemini. That means that the sun is in Sagittarius and the moon is in Gemini, and the sun and the moon are oppositional to each other. This is the Gemini-Sagittarius axis. It is the informational axis of the horoscope. It is the axis of our roads, our choices, our decisions. It is the axis of learning and also of boundaries in various senses. How exactly will the contradictions of this period manifest, as well as its opportunities? The first manifestation usually occurs on the eve of such a full moon. That is, between December 1 and 4, when new information enters our shared informational field. And it is the kind of information we cannot ignore, the kind we cannot dismiss. The essence of this information may create an inner conflict because it contradicts our fundamental ideas about the course of events, the nature of things, and it also contradicts our plans. And this, on the one hand, evokes internal resistance because we must take this information into account and adjust our plans, and some plans may be left hanging in uncertainty. On the other hand, the time of the full moon in any case brings us a culmination and clarity. No matter how much we worry or think intensely about a piece of information or a process before the full moon, the moment of the full moon gives clarity, understanding, and results. Therefore, on the eve of this full moon, there is no need to torment yourself with excessive thoughts, unless, of course, you are deciding the fate of the world. The second aspect, the sign of Sagittarius, in which the sun is located, shows everything that is far away, beyond the horizon line, beyond the limits of what we can see from our current point. And the sign of Gemini, where the moon is located and where the full moon occurs, shows everything that is near, everything we can figuratively reach. Here, too, contradictions may arise in our affairs according to the farther closer line. Something that once seemed distant is now suddenly right here. And something that seemed already within our grasp turns out to be far away. We still need to stretch to reach it. The third aspect, the sign of Gemini, where the full moon occurs, symbolizes our close communications, our interactions with neighbors, clients, colleagues, a shop seller, or a manager we deal with. Problems in communications may arise here. It may seem that we agreed on something, but now some confusion emerges again. The fourth aspect, the time of this full moon, especially the several days before it, is a period when we begin to doubt things we were absolutely sure of. The fifth aspect, the Gemini-Sagittarius axis symbolizes roads. Sagittarius is long journeys, Gemini is short trips. And on these themes, questions, doubts, and considerations may arise. to travel or not, to buy tickets or not, to go somewhere or refrain from doing so. Especially in the days just before this full moon, there may be doubts, suspended situations, and a sense that there is no clear decision. The sixth aspect, the sign of Gemini, symbolizes our speech. During the few days around the full moon, we may say something we should not. We might unintentionally hurt someone with our words by hitting a painful spot in that person's soul. The seventh aspect, the sign of Gemini, symbolizes information, and between December 4 and 6, we receive information that brings answers. This may be a document, an invitation, a decision from an organization, or the signing of some document, such as an agreement with an organization from which you are purchasing certain things. It may be a monetary transfer you are expecting, a package delivery, or an invitation to an interview. The eighth aspect, this full moon carries echoes of events, thoughts, decisions, or tasks that were relevant to you when a solar eclipse occurred in this very degree of the zodiac on December 4, 2021. Therefore, the tasks of the present period resonate with what happened then. The second point on the timeline with which this full moon connects is the end of May 2025. Thus, current events, ideas, goals, and questions may resonate with what occurred at that time. Ninth aspect, the star Antares, with which the sun will be conjunct from December 1 to 4. It is also called the vampire, the light of darkness. It is a source that does not emit light but absorbs external light, absorbs the light of others. Therefore, during the few days around the date of this full moon, attention is needed in relationships with people who tend to drink the light of others, people who feed on others, energy, who provoke scandals, who say things that hurt you or stir your emotions. And all of this is done with one goal, to take your energy. Because of this, it is important now not to allow others to feed on your light, unless it is the result of your conscious goodwill. The 10th aspect, the days around this full moon are a time when we may be dealing with organizational matters, questions related to repairing something, deliveries, or purchases. There may be chaos in both thoughts and actions. There are many tasks and practical matters that need to be handled, and a great deal of information pouring over us. All this creates a feeling of anxiety and futile bustle. Therefore, now, as always, it is important to consciously maintain focus. It is important to clearly understand what I am doing and why. The why is the global strategic meaning of my actions. The what is the concrete plan for the day. Another aspect influenced by this full moon is that during this period, we are all inclined to act more emotionally and impulsively than usual. Therefore, on the day of the full moon, and for a few days around it, it is better not to raise emotionally delicate topics with close ones. Another aspect, during this period, manipulation through ideas and lofty meanings is possible. Therefore, any conversations about global cultural or ideological values are better reduced to specifics. This way it is easier to understand what people who speak of lofty values actually want from you. After all, it is always better to call things by their proper names. Another aspect, between December 4 and 6, we may unexpectedly receive calls from people we rarely speak to, or have unexpected encounters with people we rarely see. These are chance meetings with people we had no plans to meet. And one more aspect worth mentioning is the information filter. We must clearly filter the information we consume and the information we spread. Now let us talk separately about each zodiac sign. In which sphere of life can the influence of this full moon be expected? Aries, for you this full moon occurs in the 3rd house of the horoscope. This is the house of growth and working with information. Therefore, now there may be a lot of information that you need to sort out. This may also be a period of studying, of learning some kind of detailed information through the internet. This may be a period when you will read more and generally try to understand something. A full moon in the 3rd house often brings certain changes in your circle of communication. This may be the completion of work with a certain client, changes in the circle of people you work with, or you may restructure your mechanism of interaction with the people who directly surround you. And this refers not to close people. It may be communication with neighbors, colleagues, or your clients. This full moon may also close some topic connected with repairing something or with the purchase and delivery of a purchased item. This full moon also touches for you the topic of justice. but a rather harsh, painful justice. And right now, it is important for you, in the process of making any decisions, to feel that you acted fairly, that you resolved and did everything correctly. The third house is also the house of written speech, so now you yourself may be sending letters somewhere, making inquiries, or filling out certain forms, paperwork, or receiving information in written form, information that you were waiting for. The full moon in the third house closes some road, closes some task. That is, something you were thinking about for a long time. Now you no longer need to think about it. This topic is closed. Or if you regularly went or traveled somewhere to a certain place to solve your matters, now this topic closes, and this road is already closed because it is no longer relevant. Also, the third house is the house of accessories of various kinds. That is, things we use but which are not absolutely necessary. And this is a time when you may acquire that accessory you have been thinking about for a long time. Someone during this period may change their mobile phone. Someone may buy new glasses or a watch. This full moon will also bring you clarity in those themes or questions you started thinking about back in late May 2025. And in general, the energy of this full moon will give you some kind of organizational clarity in your affairs. Taurus, in your horoscope, this full moon occurs in the second house. This is the sector of our resourcefulness and our self-esteem. Accordingly, themes connected with your income, your expenses, and your overall budget are touched here. Since this full moon touches themes of boundaries, this is a time for you to determine for yourself what you allow yourself in the material world and what you do not. This is a time of working on increasing your value in different roles and different senses. For some, this may be events connected with the source of your income. For example, a new job, a new payment system, new opportunities in the financial sector. There may be changes in the structure of your family budget. This is a time when it is very beneficial to direct your efforts toward closing the sources or channels through which your energy leaks. This is a time when it is important to achieve clear definiteness in your financial agreements with other people. The questions of this full moon may also concern the payments you receive. For some, this is the topic of the amount of social payments or alimony. These are questions connected with taxes and other financial obligations or obligations toward you, because the main theme of this full moon for you is the theme of resources, and our main life resource is ourselves. Therefore, now you may want to strengthen your position, take care of yourself, focus on your diet, your health, and your sports activities. During this time, you may buy something for yourself more than usual. Buy clothes that increase your level of self-esteem and confidence. And the days of this full moon will also bring you reflections on your financial relationships with other people. Essentially, this is a choice. I will act on my own, relying on my own resources and abilities, or I will act together with another person or other people. The essence of this choice is better less but mine, or more but shared. And it may seem that this question right now is not so global or significant, but in fact right now the foundation is being laid for the storylines that will begin to unfold in 3 years. And here it is important, figuratively speaking, not to burn bridges. If you want to stop your financial economic interaction with some person or organization, you may put it on pause. Gemini, for your sign this full moon is, of course, especially important because it occurs in your own sign, in the first house of your horoscope. And since this full moon is a full moon of boundaries, for you now in one form or another, the theme of conquering new space, of attracting attention to yourself, will be relevant. This is a very good time to speak, to publish something, to make proposals to people or organizations, or to discuss questions of future cooperation. This full moon puts your interests at the center of your attention. And this is important now because you tend to scatter your attention on everyone and everything. But now it is important to focus your own attention on your personal interests. Often, a full moon in the first house completes some task or topic that is most important for us during this period. This may be a topic connected with work or your social realization. It may be a question concerning boundaries in your personal life and the rules of your interactions. It may even be some medical question. Now, the most pressing question of this period reaches its culmination and is resolved. The first house symbolizes our external appearance, our image. And this is a time when we may take off some mask, stop playing some role that is no longer relevant for us. For some, this may manifest as a decision to stop working in some organization and stop playing the role of an employee of that company. For others, this may manifest as a decision connected with your appearance, changing something in yourself, buying things in a slightly different style, changing something in your image. The first house also shows the image we project, how others see us. And when a full moon occurs in our own sign, we may hear from others. "We didn't expect this from you," or "We didn't expect you could act this way or achieve such success," meaning they didn't expect that you could be at this level, at such a height. And this is meant in a good, positive sense. The events and decisions of this period will remind you of themselves. They will have results around late February 2026. What we decide or undertake now will have echoes and consequences, again, in a good sense, around the end of February next year. Another important aspect of this full moon for your sign is that you will have the feeling that you are forced to enter some new space unknown to you, to do something in which you have no experience, to engage in something in which you have no knowledge yet. You may feel that you have found yourself, or are finding yourself, in a space about which you lack sufficient information, about which you know little, and you are forced to act extemporaneously and to learn very quickly the rules of the game in this space. And now for you, this is a favorable path, a path of development. Your initiatives, your steps into the unknown, all this will work in your favor. This is a time to declare yourself and, figuratively, to conquer new space. Cancer, for you, this full moon occurs in the 12th house of the horoscope. This is the house of silence, the house of meanings, the house of the past, and the house of everything hidden. For you, now it is important to take care of yourself, to give yourself a pause, not just to rest, but to calmly, without haste, without an emergency pace, sort out your matters. A full moon in the 12th house closes themes, tasks that we consider our duty or obligation, both in the material sense of the word duty and the non-material sense. This is a time when we want to settle certain matters or settle things with certain people in order to remove this weight from our shoulders. This full moon will put before you the task of sorting out the so-called long drawer. That is, to complete the tasks you have long postponed, though you understood that the day would come when you would have to address them. That time comes now. The 12th house is the house of our emotional state. Therefore, now during the influence of this full moon, it is important to devote at least an hour of your time to being alone with yourself, with your inner world. Someone may visit a temple or church, someone may pray, someone may simply sleep well. That also improves our emotional state. The 12th house is also the house of chronic illnesses. Therefore, if the topic of treatment for some long-term chronic illness is relevant for you, a period of remission will come. It is important now to devote time to your condition, undergo examinations if necessary, and support yourself with preventive treatment. The 12th house is also the house of immigration, the house of distant lands. If for you the topic of relocation or migration is relevant, this is a time that will give you clarity about where you can move, when you can do it, or it will become a period of receiving documents necessary for relocation. The 12th house symbolizes everything that is very far from us. This is a time when you may receive some information or some item, a package from afar, or a meeting with people who live far away may occur. This is also a time when you may make decisions that in the future will influence the overall rhythm, schedule, or style of your work. These may be decisions connected with organizing household conditions or organizing your work schedule. The decisions you make now may not have immediate effect on your affairs today, but they will manifest in concrete events or changes around the end of February 2026. Since this full moon is a full moon of boundaries, and the 12th house is the house of our inner peace, our inner state, this is a time when you will clearly determine the boundary between your work and your rest. You will try to expand your opportunities to have free time. There may also be certain changes in the schedule or workload of your partner. Leo, for your sign, this full moon occurs in the 11th astrological field. This is the house of our social realization and also the house of our picture of the future. Since this is a full moon of boundaries, you may now build boundaries differently between yourself, your interests, and the interests of the collective of which you are a part. this is a good time to attract attention to yourself. A good time for speaking, for taking on a leadership role. A good time for advertising and launching new goods or projects you are involved in. The 11th house is the house of our vision of the future. And now, during this period, you will see at least part of the picture that awaits you in the future. The 11th house also symbolizes our relationships with people around us, our friends, acquaintances, colleagues, like-minded people. Now you may set boundaries differently with them. This time may also bring important events connected with your brother, sister, or nephews. This is also a time when it is important to exclude self-deception. You actually know very well who is who in your circle of communication, and you need to be guided by this knowledge, not by how you would prefer to see these people. This full moon also raises the topic of relationships, not long-term relationships where everything is established, but relationships at the stage of flirtation or early, candy bouquet stage. Now you may make decisions about such relationships, or circumstances may develop in such a way that the decision comes naturally, resolved by the will of circumstance. This is a good moment to attract attention to yourself, especially if you conduct some activity through the internet, publishing, advertising your products or services. The decisions you may make now will also concern finances, but these are not for today. You may decide now, but you will begin to implement it in reality around late February 2026. During this time, important and meaningful conversations or events may occur between you and people who are representatives of the sign Gemini. The 11th house is also the house of luck, the abode of fortune. Not the kind of fortune that appears out of nowhere, but the kind that is a deserved result. Therefore, this is a time when you will feel that you are lucky, that something has gone well for you, and you will understand that in fact you created this good fortune yourself. During this period, there may also be some collective event or some event that influences not only your personal affairs, but the collective of people of which you are a part. Virgo, in your horoscope, this full moon occurs in the 10th house. This is the sector of our career, status, reputation, our position on the social and career ladder. However, this full moon will affect not only the 10th house but also the 4th, the sector of our home and family matters. Therefore, the question that may be resolved now will in one way or another touch both your social position, your work or career, and also family matters or matters connected with your place of residence. The 10th house is the highest house of our horoscope, and full moons here usually touch truly important themes for us. These may be questions concerning your position at work, your sphere of responsibility, both at work and at home. Questions concerning your relationship with your parents or your partner's parents. Questions connected with visits to government agencies or institutions. There may be some kind of inspection, or you may be trying to put your paperwork in order from a bureaucratic standpoint. For someone, this full moon may manifest as concluding an important deal connected with work issues or a rental agreement. You may rent out your property or sign an agreement with a landlord. This is also a time when you may be resolving questions connected with payments for your real estate, opening or updating accounts, or doing certain recalculations. This is also a time when questions connected with your personal life may be resolved. For someone, this may be the period of entering into marriage. For someone, this may be a period of expanding the family. The question being resolved now simultaneously touches the sector of your official status and the questions connected with your home, family, and place of residence. The questions of this period will also concern searching for balance, the right balance for you, between your social engagement, your work, your ambitions, and your home and family matters. It is important to find balance so that neither your career and official status nor your family matters are left to drift. The 10th house symbolizes our sphere of responsibility, the things we are responsible for at work or at home. This full moon shows that some question for which you felt responsible is now concluding. This is a time when you may remove a certain burden from your shoulders. The matter in question may have originated back in late May 2025. During this time, you may receive important advice concerning your personal status from a family member or relative. This advice should not be ignored. It is important now to avoid feelings of guilt for something you believe you didn't handle, for something you didn't resolve, although it seemed you could have. It is important to avoid guilt because you truly did everything within your power. But if other people or unexpected factors intervene, it may be difficult to influence that. If in your personal or work-related matters there are processes where deadlines are unclear, where there is some agreement or promise but no clarity about when it will happen, this full moon is a perfect moment to discuss it and set some deadlines or time frames. And since any full moon creates an excess of emotions, if you feel overwhelmed with thoughts, desires, unresolved questions inside you, it is better to direct this energy into concrete practical matters. It is very favorable now to tidy up your desk and household affairs. Though, of course, representatives of your sign usually have everything in perfect order anyway. The 10th house also shows our achievements, the things we ourselves consider our achievements. Now some process is concluding, and its result will be something you consider your achievement. Whatever it may be, for someone a purchase of an item they will be proud of, for someone receiving an important document, for someone the opportunity to exercise their authority and resolve some question independently. Libra in your full moon horoscope occurs in the 9th house in an aspect of luck in relation to your sign. Therefore, the results that you will be receiving now, since the full moon brings results, clarity, and completion, these results will please you. Moreover, they will not be a final point but an intermediate one. That is, on the basis of the results you receive now, you will be able to move forward. These results will inspire you toward further action. What might this concern? Since the full moon occurs in the 9th house, this is a time when you may receive documents that open new roads before you. For some, these may be documents related to study, education. For others, to their own business, to certain organizational matters. For some, these are documents that allow you to make one trip or another. A full moon in the 9th house often gives clarity regarding issues of a bureaucratic and legal nature. That is, now the issue you have been thinking about may be resolved, possibly since the end of May 2025. Also, the matters of this full moon may concern the topic of interaction between you and the friends and relatives of your partner in your personal life. The topic of your interaction with your colleagues may also arise here. If there have been any problems or hidden conflict between you, now it will be resolved, and in your favor. The 9th house also shows our profession. And this is a time when someone may decide that it is necessary to change something in the direction of their activity. For example, to take up their own business or obtain a new qualification, a new profession, which will give you more opportunities. The 9th house also symbolizes everything distant, foreign. So at this time, an issue connected with a trip, travel, relocation, or documents connected with these processes may be resolved. There may also be a resolution of a question related to your cooperation with people or organizations that are far away. The 9th house is also the house of our grandchildren, so the full moon gives results, and this may be a time when you meet your grandchildren if they live far from you, or you learn good news that you will soon become a grandmother or grandfather. The 9th house also symbolizes our intellectual creativity. Therefore, for those who work in this sphere, who create some kind of informational or visual content, this is a good time when you will be able to raise, so to speak, your rating. This is a time when you may be successful in sales that take place on foreign or international platforms. Also at this time, you may receive from afar something you are expecting. This may be a document, information, a letter, a parcel, or a money transfer. And also during this time, you will make for yourself a number of very important conclusions. Conclusions about which of your actions and habits have a positive or negative influence on your emotional and physical well-being. And here you may decide to change some of your habits as everyday actions, which will certainly benefit you. Scorpios, for you this full moon occurs in the 8th house of the horoscope. This is the sector of shared and joint finances and resources. And here a question will be resolved that is connected in one way or another with money that perhaps does not belong to you personally. These may be family funds, the family budget. This may be the resolution of a question connected with your settlements with other people, organizations, or the state. It may be the resolution of a question connected with financial obligations. yours toward someone or someone's obligations toward you. Questions connected with acquiring an insurance policy may be resolved here. For example, matters concerning taxes, social payments, and also questions related to some payment that you must make. For some, this will manifest as paying off a debt. You may close a loan, a mortgage, or settle, for example, a fine or your taxes. For others, this will manifest as making a large purchase not only at your own expense. For example, when you buy something together with other members of your family or when you acquire something on credit. Matters may also involve financial questions connected with your work. If your job involves managing other people's resources and capital, for example, if you are a manager, an administrator, or an accountant, then there will be some clarity here. Some topic will be closed. The 8th house also symbolizes passive sources of our income, and this is a time when you may receive a payment, for example, rental income that is paid to you, or you may receive interest or dividends from your investments. The 8th house also symbolizes the level of income of our partner in personal life. And here, too, there will be some clarity in matters connected with your partner's work. This is a time when family questions related to an upcoming event may be resolved. That is, you may determine the level of expenses you can count on in connection with this event. For example, this could be determining the budget for your trip or for celebrating the new year. A full moon in the 8th house often gives us an inner feeling of anxiety, that something is not enough, that resources are insufficient, income is insufficient, time is insufficient to realize all our plans. And this feeling of insufficiency must be kept under control, because in fact everything is developing favorably. Also now you may make decisions concerning money or property questions, decisions that you will begin to implement a little later, namely at the end of February 2026. This is also a time when it is important, figuratively speaking, to clear space for the arrival of money. Usually this space is cleared when we tidy up our financial affairs, our settlements, when we clearly know where and in which account, in which wallet a certain sum is kept, when all our financial obligations are paid, when there is complete order in financial matters. Sagittarius, in your horoscope, this full moon occurs in the 7th house. This is the sector of partnership relations. This house symbolizes our relationships of a personal nature as well as friendships and business relationships. And it is here that some important events will take place. For some, these may be important events in personal life, such as an important and promising acquaintance, an important conversation with your partner about the future of your relationship, or an important joint decision with your partner about the direction in which you will move further. This may concern business relationships. Someone during this period may sign a new contract with a client or employer, and someone may complete work with a certain client. That is, complete a particular stage of cooperation. Some stage of cooperation between you and some organization may also come to an end. For example, if some time ago you signed a contract with an organization regarding the provision of certain services or goods, now this matter may already be closed. This may also be a time for making a deal, a purchase or sale, or you may visit a notary to process certain documents that are connected in one way or another with cooperation. For example, to issue a power of attorney to some person so they can perform certain actions on your behalf. This is also a time when important events may occur in the affairs of your key partners. For example, in the work or other processes of your partner in personal life, or this may concern events in the affairs of your friends or your employer. And since this full moon is a full moon of new boundaries, for you these are new boundaries in relationships, new principles of your cooperation. Here it is important to balance your interests and the interests of your partners so that, on the one hand, you do not ignore the needs of your partners, and on the other hand, do not spend too much or all of your free time on resolving other people's issues. Any full moon brings some changes, sometimes not obvious, but still new notes appear. And when a full moon occurs in the sector of our partnership relations, it affects our own sign, our own self. That is, this is a time when you may think that you need to change your image at least a little, to change something in your appearance or in your habitual behavioral model. And these decisions now may be connected with our partners. For example, when we compare someone's achievements with our own and want to become better. Or when we see that one of our friends has taken some useful and correct step, and we also want to do the same. That is, when we take a good example from others. Also during this period, December 4 and 5, you will make some important decision, the implementation of which you will begin later, around the end of February 2026. And this may concern changes you plan to make in the matters of your work, career, or matters connected with your place of residence. And here it is very important to make this decision independently. Yes, you may consult with someone, discuss something, agree on something, but it is important that this decision does not contradict what is in your heart, that other people's advice does not influence your determination and your understanding of what you yourself want. A special remark for those whose birthday falls on the period from December 3 to December 5 inclusive. Since at the moment your annual horoscope is activated, this full moon will already be influencing it. This will have an effect on your entire next year up to your next birthday. And this usually indicates that the year will be very dynamic, that there will be many important events that will primarily concern your partnership relations. And for all of you, regardless of the exact date of birth, the period of this full moon is a time when you need to achieve clarity in relationships, to avoid any omissions, unspoken things, any uncertainty. Everything must be clearly discussed, and a plan of joint action must be thought out. Whatever it concerns. Capricorn, in your horoscope, this full moon occurs in the 6th house and affects the program of improving the conditions of your life, employment, and the program connected with improving your health. The 6th house shows the basic conditions of our life, the conditions that surround us both at work and at home in everyday life. It also shows our physical and energetic state. The events of this period may be connected with the following themes. First, changes in some conditions of your professional activity, your employment, your work. For those who do not work in the usual sense of the word, this time will bring changes in the rhythm and schedule of your day. Some topic or task you have been working on for a long time may be closing. If some time ago you took up self-care, started exercising, or changing something in your diet or usual activity rhythm in order to feel better, then this full moon will bring you visible and obvious results. This full moon also closes some task that was in your zone of responsibility. That is, it gives relief that this matter is already closed, this topic is closed, and you no longer need to deal with this issue. This full moon is a very favorable time to, figuratively speaking, close some loose ends, resolve unfinished matters, put a period somewhere in order to free up more time to take care of yourself. This full moon will give a redistribution of load. That is, work duties, responsibilities, tasks may be distributed in a different way. Or in your household matters, you may redistribute family responsibilities in a new way. The energy of this full moon will influence those processes that are system-forming for shaping the schedule and rhythm of the day. For someone, this may be a new work schedule. For someone, a new schedule of performing certain household or family duties. That is, this is a time that, even if just a little, changes the rhythm of the day that is familiar to us. And since this full moon is a full moon of boundaries, here you may set boundaries differently between your employment and your rest. You will want to dedicate more time to yourself, to your personal matters and plans. A full moon brings completion, and here a matter you have been dealing with for a long time may be completed, possibly since the end of May 2025. And again, this may be connected with some organizational matters. For example, completing a renovation, completing rearrangement or re-equipment in your home, or completing renovation or some sort of rearrangement in your work office. A full moon in the 6th house may also bring the completion of some medical question. Someone may complete a course of treatment, someone may undergo tests and examinations, and there will be clarity in these matters. The period of this full moon, especially December 4 and 5, are days when you will make certain conclusions, that it is not necessary to always remain in tension, that if you allow yourself pauses, allow yourself to relax, it benefits your work and strategic plans. That is, this is a time when you will understand that you need to learn to relax, that you cannot always stay in tension, in hustle, and in constant tasks because this reduces your efficiency. And after even a small pause, when you allow yourself to do nothing, think about nothing, worry about nothing, control nothing. After such a period, a breakthrough comes in your affairs. Aquarius, for you this full moon is very interesting and positive. It occurs in the 5th house of your horoscope, in an aspect of luck in relation to your sign, and activates the program of joy, the program of creative flight, the program of life without routine. The energy of this full moon is the energy of our heart. Therefore, the questions that this full moon may concern on the event level will be connected in one way or another with what we choose with the voice of our heart. These are matters connected with children, with personal life, with your creative interests and your hobbies. This is a time when you may be invited to some festive event, or it may already take place during this period. This is a time when you may resolve questions connected with your children, with your relationships, your interaction with your own children, or some plans regarding their future development. This is also a time that will bring clarity in matters of personal life. For some, this may be a time of a date, a confession of love. For some, of important shared plans with your partner. During this period, you may also complete work on some creative project. In general, the energy of this full moon gives a feeling of creative flight when we understand that we have the opportunity to do at least something in our life based on inspiration, and not simply because it must be done. A full moon in the 5th house gives bright and, so to speak, sacred emotions. This may be connected with your personal matters, events in your life, and it may also be connected with encountering creativity or art. For example, vivid emotions from attending a concert or theater performance. And since this full moon affects not only your 5th house, but also the 11th, where the sun is located, it is important now to be not only a good friend, but to think first of all about yourself. That is, now it is important not to dissolve in the affairs and interests of other people or your social group. It is important now to take care of yourself. You must be in first place for yourself. If now there arises a situation of choice, to act in a way that is convenient and beneficial for me, or in a way that is convenient and beneficial for the collective of people I am part of, then you must act in the way that is convenient and beneficial specifically for you. It is very favorable for you on these days, December 4 and 5, to unwind somehow, attend an event, meet with friends, allow yourself at least a small celebration. It is also very favorable now to organize some celebration for your child, to go somewhere together, to rejoice together. This full moon reminds us that not everything in life must be approached seriously and heavily. The more lightness we have in our attitude toward something, the better matters develop in precisely that direction. Pisces, for you this full moon occurs in your 4th house of the horoscope, and it is not as simple as it may seem. The main themes for reflection and decision-making during this period may be themes connected with your place of residence, with family relationships, with the organization of your household and your living conditions. These may be questions connected with your place of residence itself, questions of renovation, improvement, relocation, as well as the topic of whom you want to live with and how you want to organize your home and family life. There may also be important questions connected with the affairs of some member of your family. This eclipse may resonate with themes for reflection that were relevant to you around December 4, 2021. At that time, you may have had some ideas or certain rough edges in this regard. That is, now this full moon repeats these themes and essentially highlights for you how correct were those decisions, those thoughts that were relevant to you then, in 2021. This full moon is also essentially a forerunner of events that await you around 2029. And again, these are questions connected with how you manage your property. What is in your hands? What belongs to you? Primarily, these are questions concerning real estate. This may be an apartment, a house, a dacha, or a land plot. And the second important theme concerns questions connected with family relationships, relationships with your relatives and family members on an everyday level. Now, during this full moon, is a very good moment to put your home in order, to give attention to your family and the place where you live. What needs to be bought? what needs to be repaired. And if there are things in your home that you do not use, now is a good time to clear your space. This full moon may also express itself on the emotional plane. It is important now to get rid of feelings of guilt and resentment, which again relate to the sphere of family interaction with your family members and your relatives. An important point to pay attention to now is that you cannot abandon your ambitions in social realization, in your career, for the sake of the interests of members of your family, because a decision of that sort may have a negative effect in the future.